Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And in this episode, of course, we have a lot to do. But before we get to all that, I'm just going to quickly visit Roger Defense for a second. And also, I'd like to just address a couple of things related to the previous episode. Some stuff that I wanted to mention, but simply forgot. When it comes to that ambush with the beholders, it always triggers when while you are in this area over here, so you always kind of end up, when they teleport in this awkward position when they are behind the corner, unless you want to go all the way around, I guess, and approach them from here. But normally when you go through this tunnel, I guess, through this hallway or corridor, they will not spawn unless you are like over here. Anyway, another thing that I wanted to say about beholders, and the thing I dislike about them in combination with the anti-magic ray and the petrification ray is that they generally come in big groups. That wasn't the case here. That was only one beholder and two Gauths, but generally later on in the game you will see in their lairs especially that they will come in groups of at least 3 or 4 beholders and a couple of more Gauths. And especially with SCS's better calls for help in some of their lairs, some other beholders from around the area can actually join in on the fight, and you can end up with having like 6 beholders all at once, with all of their rays flying around and all the anti-magic being applied and all that stuff. So yeah, that's also one thing that contributes to the general problem and my hatred of beholders. Also, one thing for thoroughness sake that I forgot to mention is that they cannot be backstabbed. Like, speaking of tactics against them, I guess, because they technically don't have a back, I guess. Although one thing that I did mention is that they do not see invisible. Only the Hive Mother, which is a way more like advanced and high-level type of a beholder, only the Hive Mothers can actually see invisible. And also one correction, their scripts, I actually double-checked that, and their scripts are not 80 times longer than the unmodded game scripts in SCS, but 150 times longer. So a little correction there. Anyway, also I should have equipped, of course, Korgan with his Throne Axe +2. That's the perfect weapon for Korgan, providing him with the really nice ranged option. So that was a mistake. And now I gave this wand to Senashira, and we're going to talk with Roger Defense for a second, because we are going to recharge this Cone of Cold wand. And because it only has 2 charges, and I want to have that level 5 kind of reliable AoE spell at my disposal for some upcoming fights. And we are actually going to do that using our money. We are actually going to pay for this recharge. It's not too bad. And now we're going to have enough charges to last us for the rest of the game when it comes to this wand. Anyway, and now we can finally proceed to this next area. And this interior, of course, might look familiar if you remember Durlag's Tower. Okay, first we have a couple of different like imps and mephits. Not a big deal. They just do some minor damage of a couple of different types. And there should be like one more. Yeah, there you are, bro. Okay, now we can explore this area a little bit. And we're going to get the hard fight here that I've been saving some spells for out of the way, I think, first. Here we have a little... some nice scrolls. Oh yeah, you can have that, Edwin. And anyway, there is basically a spawn point of some tough monsters. Okay, and this stutter, this lag that happened here, indicates that a couple of like creatures spawned nearby. That's because SCS scripts are so long that you know, sometimes when a couple of like mages spawn, and there's going to be 3 mages over there, you know, when their scripts load, there's a little stutter, there's a little lag in the game, I guess. Alright, so they did spawn there. And I am going to pull them here, but first we are going to pre-buff, and we're going to actually heal up a little bit. And also, I should use some of these like smaller potions while they are still a little useful, at least.
Point the sword.
yeah, we're going to do some pre-buffs. And basically, just to talk about this upcoming fight, and this is kind of the creature type that we're going to engage in are going to be Yuan-ti Mages. And they are kind of a wake-up call in SCS, I feel. Like a lot of people that were just familiar with the normal game, you know, did some playthroughs of the unmodded Baldur's Gate 2, were pretty familiar with the game, and then decided to, that's kind of a common story, I feel. Like, and then, you know, decided to try SCS on their first playthrough. You know, you go through Irenicus's dungeon and some early quests. You know, it's not too bad, nothing too terrible. Actually, while I'm talking, I can at least do some stuff with Kirinai here. But yeah, then they basically, you know, progress a little further with SCS in the game and encounter these groups of Yuan-ti Mages, and that's generally a big wake-up call to like what SCS really offers. Because they are proper SCS, like level 14 mages. There's going to be 3 of them, and accompanied by some like Yuan-ti fighters that aren't too tough. But yeah, because of all that, we are going to do some pre-buffs for sure on our characters. We're going to treat this fight seriously, and that's what I've been saving some of my spells here. We are going to first, of course, apply the long-lasting buffs. I don't think I'm going to use like Holy Power and draw upon Holy Might on Anoman. I don't think I'm going to like have him in the front lines here. I think he's going to stay in the back, able to provide some support, maybe with some Holy Smite, although this will require some dispels on them. Oh, by the way, Holy Smite, I've also one thing that's worth mentioning here is that of course this is a spell that only affects evil aligned creatures, or like, you know, people. So now in our party that we have Corgan and Edwin, we have to be careful with this spell because it is going to affect them, and you can deal damage if you're not careful to your own guys and like blind them with this spell. And also on that note, there's also a spell called Unholy Blight that evil clerics have that only damages good aligned characters. So if you want to like create a party and like min-max, I guess it's best to go for neutral aligned characters because you're going to be affected by neither Holy Smite or Unholy Blight. So that's just a little kind of a min-maxing thing that you can do if you want. Okay, now also long-lasting buffs. I think I'm going to use this chaotic commands on Jaheira, and I think we're going to give a potion of invulnerability to Kirinai, and we're just going to rely on her saves that way. And she's going to have buffed up armor class and saving throws with that. And Jaheira is going to be important because she has this dispel magic which might come in handy to dispel some nasty effects on us, so I want her not to be disabled. Now, also what we're going to do. Corgan, of course, is amazing with his Berserker Rage. We're going to be safe with him. And now Edwin is also going to pre-buff with some stuff. We can give him some shield, we can give him some mirror images, and then we can do the same with Senashira. And Senashira is also going to apply both spell immunities. Yes. Jaheira, what do you have here? I guess you will be able to cast some Bless a little bit later. You know what, I think we are going to rest after this fight anyway. So I might go with, well, Anoman, do I really want to endanger you? Well, let's do it. Let's give him some Holy Power, and let's give him some drop on Holy Might. Jaheira can cast Bless, Edwin can cast Haste. Alright, Senashira can have spell immunity Abjuration, and Edwin is going to cast Improved Invisibility on himself.
What is it now?
And now also 135 hit points on Anoman, because he gets bonus hit point from both Holy Power and from the increase in Constitution provided by drop on Holy Might. So now he has 22 strength. His dexterity is still not high enough to give him any bonuses to his armor class, but that's okay. His damage is pretty nice. His Thaco is pretty nice. He has 3 attacks with haste. That's pretty cool. I think I might even unleash him a little bit when some opponents draw closer. At least he can contribute some damage with his sling. That also gets bonuses from strength when it comes to damage. But you need dexterity for Thaco bonuses for that. Alright, and here I think this is going to be pretty much it. We're just going to spell immunity to abjuration and to enchantment. The usual combo for Senashira. Okay, and now we are also going to allow ourselves to use our Cloud Kill wand. That is the time now to allow such a thing. And also I would like to spread out, but this is also a little bit of a problem in this fight, that the environment. You can try to spread out, but if you really want to reach into this small room, you kind of have to be bunched up in here. I'm going to keep Jaheira in the back as much as possible and use the +2 bullets if you get the chance. Alright, Kirana is going to be hiding behind the corner, I guess. And we're going to go in with Senashira. And we're going to pull them. And pull them to us. So they're going to have some extensive pre-buffs, as you can see. There's 3 of these Yuan-ti Mages, and they have actually double Fire Shield and Fire Shield Red and 1 Fire Shield Blue. They are all hasted. They have minor spell turning, and they also have minor globe, shield, and I think they have stone skin as well. Although this is not displayed here, but I'm pretty sure that they do have that. But do they have improved invisibility? Let's check that out. It doesn't seem like they do have improved invisibility, so that's one very good thing about them. Anyway, I'm going to escape into this room to pull them closer to us, and here we are going to use this Wand of Cloud Kill to force them to either stay here and hopefully interrupt some of their spells, because this is a level 5 spell and a cloud at that. Or they were going to have to come closer to us and basically fall into our trap. Right, so here comes the Greater Yuan-ti. They are just kind of like melee guys that don't really matter too much. I just want that Cloud Kill. Okay, it's there. Alright, so that guy is already destroyed. These Yuan-ti are very inconsequential. The main deal, of course, are the 3 Yuan-ti Mages. And now what I'm going to do is I'm first going to throw 1 remove magic. Once they actually reveal themselves, one of them is over there. I think they made themselves invisible, or it's just our perspective is not that great. Let's check it out. Okay, they are there. They, as you can see, they sometimes try to cast something, but the ticking poison damage of Cloud Kill that they're standing in is going to have a nice chance of actually interrupting them. I am going to throw in 1 remove magic, and we'll see if it's going to be able to do anything to them. Also for interruptions, we're going to have AoE, Cone of Cold, and I might give that to Senashira, we'll see. But also we are prepared with some spell thrusts that are going to disable both their minor globe and their minor spell turning, and so that later on we can breach them. We also can throw in Chaos, but Chaos I will throw in after remove magic, because of course we don't want to first confuse them with Chaos and then like dispel them with our own remove magic. So first remove magic from Senashira, and of course it's not guaranteed that it's going to do anything, but Senashira is level 11, they are level 14. It has a chance of dispelling at least some of their protections. We'll see how effective that's going to be. Oh, I think that guy got dispelled pretty nicely actually. So let's try, and perhaps we can get him from afar, and we can also throw in this Chaos already. And we want to... Alright, he has contingency with Stone Skin, so that remove magic was effective on him, but not on him. We know that from... Although every buff has its individual chance of being dispelled, but generally, if all of his fire shields are intact and stuff, I think he was just out of range of that remove magic altogether. So that guy we're going to have to take care of a little bit later. Alright, of course Senashira is going to take some damage from the Cloud Kill, but that's okay. It's not a big deal, she's not going to be standing in it for too long. Yeah, their spell castings are nicely interrupted by that Cloud Kill. Okay, this one is confused, actually, so he is completely disabled and now he's dead. I don't think the other ones got affected by our chaos. Yeah, only one of them got confused. I think the other ones either... yeah, I don't even think that they even had to save against that. They were just kind of like around the corner and it didn't even touch them. Alright, so now I think what we're going to do is we're going to spell thrust this guy with Senashira, and we're going to prepare Edwin for some breach, hopefully. And we're just going... you can just keep throwing your daggers, it doesn't matter. Alright, so now his minor globe and his minor spell turning are disabled. And now we can breach him, and breach is going to disable his combat protections. So all of these fire shields are going to be dispelled and his stone skin. But we have to survive for a little bit longer. Also, Korgan might activate his rage and actually go in there, so that they don't actually like flood into this room, I guess. Just block him there, Korgan, and be immune to anything that he can do to you, pretty much, except damage with your amazing Berserker Rage. Alright, so now he is dispelled, but his contingency now triggered with Stone Skin, but that's okay. We are going to be able to cut through it in pretty quickly, I think, with all of our physical damage. And I think I can even bring Anomen closer. Alright, enchantment spell incoming, so hopefully we can... Alright, we took care of him. And now there's just this one guy left. He's injured from the cloud kill. I'm not sure if he has anything, any protections. He might have stone skin. They have access to like mantle and stuff, and they might have casted it. Yeah, you know, one of them cast mantle, but I'm not sure if that was the one. Yeah, they basically all cast mantle. So his mantle is probably still active. We'll see from the combat messages. Okay, our weapons are ineffective, so his mantle is in effect. So now we have to do the same thing, I guess, that we did, just in the reverse order. Now Edwin is going to spell thrust, and Senashira is going to breach. So hopefully he can like stay in our vision and just not do anything. Yeah, you can keep throwing your daggers, doesn't matter. Alright, spell thrust worked. Now we breach him and prepare for some damage. He is casting though. Alright, Greater Malison doesn't matter. It just lowers our saving throws, which don't matter at this moment. Alright, and now we can just go in. His contingency with Stone Skin triggers, but doesn't matter. He should get killed and blocked here pretty quickly. And boom! Haha! That was pretty sweet. I have to say, everything went very, very nicely. These Yuan-ti Mages, man. You have to believe me when... like I said, it's kind of like a wake-up call when you first start playing with SCS. Like, especially since they come in groups. It's not like one Yuan-ti Mage, but 3 of them, usually in a group. And as you could see, you know, if you're kind of not prepared for what they can do, well, they of course can throw in a lot of damage spells. They have chaos, and you know, they have many protections and you know, all that stuff. So they can be very nasty enemies, these groups. Alright, we can now loot some chests. Oh, Senashira has some space, that's very nice. That's not a very good amulet there, by the way, that necklace that we just picked up.
Yes.
Alright.
Direct me as you will.
Here's Haer'Dalis.
This sparrow is ready to fly.
You can say hi to him.
I serve only Master Mekrath.
Yeah, so he is kind of magically enslaved. I didn't mean to click on him again. Anyway, so he mentioned Master Mecgrath, because this is this mage's lair, actually. His hideout, I guess. He's called Mekrath.
Yes, certainly.
Also, we can already pick up. We can pick up some goodies from this container here. Oh, I forgot to actually unlock it.
Without doubt. Nothing to it.
Oh, and we can't unlock it, of course, because we have to first do a quest here.
Yes.
Okay, I know you guys are tired. Chill out. We are going to rest soon. We of course got tired after that haste ran out, because we used haste once before. And I think I explained that in Baldur's Gate 1, but basically once our party members get to a fatigue value of 7, they get tired, they get fatigued. In that first stage of fatigue, this is not a real potion, so let's just keep it for selling on someone else. But yeah, once that value reaches 7, you get fatigued, like the first stage of fatigue. And in Baldur's Gate 2, haste actually increases your fatigue value by 4, so you can easily just haste once and still be able to adventure for quite a long time. And then once you haste another time, you are guaranteed to become fatigued. Anyway, here we are going to meet Mekrath, whose name is very similar to a villain from Icewind Dale called Marketh. That's kind of an idea I had once for a duo playthrough through Baldur's Gate, or maybe Icewind Dale, have a Marketh and Mekrath in one party. Anyway, so we've of course heard about this place from Haer'Dalis Shy, the leader of the Sigil troop. Once we, watched their theater play, and they had this call for adventurers and wanted us to find Haer'Dalis. So we've of course seen him already. And if we say that we can be confrontational, and actually a lot of different dialogue options end in a fight with this guy. And if he dies, then the mental hold he has over Haer'Dalis is going to be diminished, I guess. And that's one way of freeing Haer'Dalis, is just by killing this guy. But I think a way lesser known thing that we can do with Mekrath is actually perform a task for him. So anyway, he calls Haer'Dalis a thief, and we can ask him a little bit further. Apparently he stole into his sanctum as a thief, and Mekrath captured him and made him his slave as punishment, or for his amusement. He's an evil dude. But anyway, if we keep asking further, this is going to end up in a fight. And so we have to, this is like the last chance we can say, name your price for his freedom. And he's going to offer us a little quest, a little task to perform, and in return he's going to free Haer'Dalis. And so apparently some kind of an imp stole his magical mirror artifact and escaped into the sewers. And our task is to, find that imp and retrieve the mirror. Yeah, but the imp may have picked up an incantation or two and may have used the mirror. So yeah, it's not going to be only the imp whom we're going to have to deal with here. But yeah, that's the quest, and I think this is like a way lesser known kind of encounter. Also, did I loot this? Oh, there's nothing in this bookcase, I think, but bookshelf. Yeah. Alright, now we have nicely uncovered the whole room. That was bothering me, that little part of uncovered, unrevealed terrain. Anyway, the imp is going to be in the southeastern part here. He says that the mirror is his, and he managed to summon through this mirror, I guess, a lesser earth elemental. And he has some basic spells, but hopefully, okay, we didn't interrupt him, so he did manage to cast that glitter dust, which was pretty effective, but it doesn't really matter, it's just one elemental here. The imp is, of course, only an imp that dies in like 2 hits. And here we have this mirror that's unfortunately broken. And yeah, this is kind of like a little bit more interesting than just fighting Mekrath, which is not a very special caster. I think he's also level 14. A lot of casters in this part of the game are around that level. And we also can get more experience that way. And Mekrath doesn't have anything, like no interesting loot on him. He just has a quarterstaff +1 and a robe of fire resistance. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, we do have the mirror now for him. Yeah, the moronic beast cracked it. Shall take weeks to repair. And yes, we did kill the imp for this indignity, and we get almost 20,000 experience for that. Or actually 20,000, counting the experience we got for killing the earth elemental and the imp. So actually we get a little above 20,000. Yeah, so he's now going to release Haer'Dalis. Release Haer'Dalis, and he's going to like go away. And also, he has a very, very good stash here. Oh, this was, I think, locked in Durlach's tower, but not in his Sanctum here. So we have a Wand of Cloudkill here, a Rod of Resurrection, very useful item, and a Potion of Mind Quickening and Potion of Genius. So sweet, we actually got 2 Potions of Genius out of this, so our next scribing session, we're not going to have to... Well, at least 1 mage is covered for his next scribing session. And now... Actually... I think we might even recruit Haer'Dalis for a moment. So I should have actually then released Corgan, I guess, before handing in that quest. But I kind of forgot about it. And it's also kind of a thing in the moment. I think we are going to at least showcase Haer'Dalis for a moment. Although Corgan is a much, much better companion in my opinion, but we are going to go to a place where we would get rid of Corgan anyway and take a different 6th companion that's going to be involved in a large quest chain that we're going to undertake very soon. So I guess we are going to just strip Corgan of all of his gear. Lilar core I'm just going to put in our bag of holding. Oh, we actually have also this Traveler's Robe, which is a little better for Edwin. I like the +1 missile attacks armor class because, you know, a mage like Edwin is going to usually stay at a distance from enemies, so he's going to be mostly vulnerable to missile attacks, so this helps a little bit. And also save versus breath is, well, a decent thing to have for some encounters later on. You know, it doesn't matter all that much, but it's, you know, generally more useful than save versus petrification and polymorph. Although, depends, you know, when you're talking about like fighting beholders, this save versus petrification / polymorph, you know, is actually pretty useful as well. But I think he's going to have the Traveler's Robe for now, and we can just give these to him. Now the Berserker summon. The Berserkers are actually a little problematic because you cannot control them. They have this Berserker Rage and they just, you know, are still decent cannon fodder, but you have to keep in mind that you actually don't have any control over them. And actually, I should have had a protection item on Edwin sooner than this. We could probably sell that for something, and you can keep this medium shield, Corgan. Alright, so actually, let's take a quick look at Corgan's accomplishments. 19 kills. He did manage to actually have the killing blow on that beholder. And yeah, that's pretty much it. 10% of kills in this chapter. A very good companion in my opinion when it comes to game mechanics, but he's just not a part of our group for this playthrough I have planned. So goodbye, Corgan.
Back to the grind, eh? Are we off?
He's going to be back in the Copper Coronet, and I think I mentioned that before, but actually if you go to re-recruit him, he's going to want 500 gold to actually join you again.
I demand that we stop.
My
The
head
day was not this long, even when I led
filled
soldiers
with
in the order.
stars and liquid fire, and I see before me the new holders of my shackles. The wizard has released me, I see, only to pass my reins to another.
So of course you might recognize this voice actor, pretty prominent in the Infinity Engine games, also voicing Laryl in Icewind Dale, for example. Anyway. So he's going to have a lot of different like bird metaphors, and also he's going to talk about chaos and entropy and stuff like that a lot if we actually do keep him. But yeah, we can say that we're with the Haer'Dalis, and we can either, you know, let him go and he's just going to go back to the theater on his own, or we can actually have him in our party for a little bit. Yeah, entropy, chaos, decay. He's a Doomguard, which is kind of a faction from Sigil.
Fate beckons us all.
Anyway, and so he is a blade, which is a bard kit. That's actually more like an artistic fighter, I guess. So he can get 3 proficiency points into 2-weapon style, and he has the offensive and defensive spin abilities. And they are pretty good. The disadvantages are just half of the lore value and half pickpockets, so basically none. And he also has slightly different high-level abilities when you get to reach very high levels. But anyway, the offensive spin is the most notable, because for 4 rounds he basically gets hasted, gets bonuses to hit and damage, also deals maximum damage for the duration, you know, doubles his movement speed and gets an additional attack. So basically haste, and this is not stackable with haste or improved haste, and this actually is like that in the enhanced edition, whereas in the classic Baldur's Gate 2 you actually could stack it with haste, provided that you cast those 2 abilities in the right order. I forget off the top of my head right now which one was it, whether you had to cast haste first and then offensive spin or the other way around, but you could stack them. So you could have like 4 attacks with him and some like really sick movement speed. And yeah, defensive spin roots him in place, but he gets you know, up to a +10 armor class, so in a pinch this can be useful. Also, he has something illegal about him, because he has 2 proficiency points in short sword, so he gets that +1 hit and +2 damage to short swords. Although of course he doesn't get the half of an attack because he is not a warrior class. And he also is a tiefling, which means, I think he mentions in one of his conversations that he has some elven ancestry, but basically tiefling is someone with some demonic blood in their, like earlier in their like family tree, I guess. So he's not exactly like half demon or half devil and like half something else, but that taint in that bloodline still lingers. So he has some demonic or like devilish, I guess fiendish properties, and that actually means in his case that he has some pretty decent resistances, all like natural resistances to fire, cold, and some physical damage. And he also has these 2 unique short swords +2, entropy that can inflict some poison damage, and chaos blade, which drains dexterity. So yeah, well, let's just check out what spells he has. Oh my god. Alright, not great selection, but something that we can work with. Alright, so now he, of course, you know, it was not only about retrieving Haer'Dalis, but also, I think he mentioned in his conversation, a certain gem that we also have to retrieve from this place. And now this container is going to be open. And now we can get some good stuff for him.
The gem! We have it! Come, my birds, let us to the playhouse fly! The inn is in the bridge district of this city, in the basement of the 5 Flagons.
Yeah, so we have to go back to Haer'Dalis, in the basement of the 5 Flagons. It's called a portal gem, and apparently it's of some vital importance. And also there's this harp that allows you to cast confusion, which is really nice for Haer'Dalis at this point of the game. And you can even hold on to it for your thief. Like for Kirinai, once she gets the high level ability, use any item, she would be able to use it, but by that time having an item that can cast just standard confusion isn't all that hot, really. So I might sell it. Let's just explore here. There is sometimes an encounter here, and the same on this side. There's sometimes some creatures over there, and then we will have the sewers pretty much fully explored. There is a spawn point here, and they sometimes can spawn, I think, if you take a certain route through the sewers. But anyway, now it's time for us to leave. And I think we might even conclude our business here with Haer'Dalis and return to the bridge district before we set out. Oh, another talk with Anomen. So we can ask him. Yeah, he again mentions, of course, the lack of his father's sponsorship and whatnot. Yeah, Sir Ryan Troll is a good guy. It's been a journey already for him, and he still, of course, has his test to pass, which this questline of his didn't even really start, because if you romance him, it takes a longer time to start out, because he has to get through his talks about it. But we're going to cut the romance soon anyway, and whether we cut it or not, it's going to start soon, because he's getting to that point, I guess. Yeah, we are a force for righteousness and honor. I don't want to say that they are pompous fools, but of course Senashira has no interest in joining an order like that. And of course he... that's Animan for you. Just changing his tune in a blink of an eye. Alright, so the bridge district, the 5 flagons. Let's just conclude our business with...
the playhouse. It is in the basement of this inn. Come, let us enter. Ms. Haer'Dalis will be pleased to see the gifts we bring.
Yep. And also, if we have Haer'Dalis in our party, we might talk to Samuel, and he's going to give us a little something. Well, he mentions that pretty woman, and I think he might actually mean Elanda. And yeah, we receive a diamond if we talk to Samuel Haer'Dalis in our party, and actually we might go and oh, Haer'Dalis actually gets this diamond, but I'm going to take that, thank you. And I'm actually going to place it in okay, we already have 1 diamond here, because a diamond is used in the process of upgrading that Horn of Valhalla, so I want to have 1 in my possession and not just sell it. But yeah, in Delisar's Inn, actually you might even go directly to the bottom floor here. If you have... Alright, Haer'Dalis, let's even use him. Let's talk to your little friend here.
I require rest. The demand we stop.
Alright, Edwin, soon. Have patience, my man.
Hey, sexy. Do you want to take a look at me?
Yeah, with the fast hands and the promises. Where have you been for the last month, hmm? You see, my sunflower, it is not what you think, truly. This is very funny. Well, actually, you're quite close to the truth. Yeah, we are through. Be gone from my sight, cur. Yeah. Pretty cool that I actually managed to show that off. I almost forgot about that. All right. Anyway, I know we are going quite a bit over time in this episode, but let's just finish our business with Haer'Dalis. There's going to be a little event here, but we will not have to like engage further into it. You'll see what I mean in a second. There's going to be a little encounter, but afterwards we are just basically going to be able to like leave Haer'Dalis and these guys to their own fate for later.
Yes, certainly. Salutations.
Yeah, the Rodrigo is back.
What is it? Speak, direct me as you will.
And the errant actor doth return.
Yeah, she asks about the gem. Of course we have it. So we get a little bit of money. Yeah, tell them the truth of what we are about while I prepare the summoning of the conduit. Yeah, so the gem, it wasn't theirs. It's a Planar jewel, and that allows them to travel between planes. And this is, you know, much like it's more closer to like Planescape Torment territory when it comes to the prime material plane and the other planes, and traveling between the planes, I guess. Yeah, we can like inquire a little bit more about that. Of course, if you played Planescape Torment, this is, you know, should be all clear. But just so that you can pause and read a little, you know, in more detail for yourself, of course, feel free to do so. Yeah, and basically it's also an interesting tale about this cursed play that they performed. Yeah, comedy of terrors. And so they basically are on the run. Yeah, one does not satirize Duke Roman Darkwood. And he's a wretched Cambion. Or actually his Cambion, I guess, hunts them and tracked them down to the prime material plane here.
Haer'Dalis, everyone, gather round. The stone is ready to begin the summoning.
Alright, so here comes the event. And basically when she summons the portal, I guess we will have to defend her. We got some experience also from doing all this.
Yes?
And yeah, there's going to be some creatures appearing from the portal. This is not really anything too difficult, but I am going to keep Haer'Dalis in the back. He has very little HP.
What the best leaders also follow.
Yes?
I guess Jaheira can stay back and use her sling, not to get too crowdy in here.
It will be done.
This weapon's worthless.
Dang, this episode is going to be a little long, but... Okay, a Shadow Fiend, let's just have Senashira in melee here. Alright. Alright, so a bounty hunter appears. And basically this is a conversation option. If there are any active monsters around, they are going to die after this, when he says that he will stop this madness. Yeah, Duke Darkwood still is looking for them. Yeah, so they claim that they performed it under the assumption that they performed it under the assumption that it was fiction. But you know, you will see in the process of progressing through this quest line later that there are always surprises here, and they are never really telling us the whole story. Yeah, so they are going to be captured and transported into the Planar prison. And if we go through the portal, it will transport us to that prison, and that's a whole, like, pretty big area to explore, and something that we're going to engage in later in our playthrough. So that's why I said that we just basically abandoned them to their fate in that prison for a while, and we're going to be back to rescue you guys, but not yet. So yeah. So this was a little bit over time, but I think we had some like pretty cool encounters in this episode, so I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out, although it was slightly longer. Anyway, I thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you next time.